Welcome to Come and See, your podcast for finding truth in a world of chaos. Brought to you by All for Jesus Living Waters Ministry. With host and founder Richard Case and co-host and retreat leader Kathy Ricconi. Today is our special guest day, where we will hear from a friend of the ministry who will share their insight and stories on truth in this chaotic world. And now your host, Richard Case.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is Guest Thursday, and we're revisiting with Brad and Keri Little from McKinney, Texas, transplants from Oklahoma. Last time you guys shared your beautiful stories of your business, which is exciting. You're starting a new project coming up, and when do you break ground, by the way, on your new property?
I think we'll probably have a groundbreaking ceremony by the end of September, and then hopefully we break ground in earnest end of October, 1st of November.
Yep.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It is exciting. It is exciting.
Get ready for next summer. And then you shared some great stories about where God raised red flags, and you had to process that to confirmation. And then, by the way, he said something that you were going to do. I actually have a different plan for that, so you were open to that, and then shared how you guys as a couple worked that, and that was a beautiful thing. So we'd like to, this time, have you share, again, first of all, describe your family. I think you've got, is it eight children between the two of you?
And
then
a lot of grandchildren.
How many grandchildren?
18.
So first of all, whoa, you got birthday issues there.
Always.
So how old is your children? What ranges of your children do you have?
So for the story, to make sure everybody's on the same page with us, Keri was a widow, I was a widower, and we met about, let's just say 14 years ago. We've been married 12. The oldest is Courtney, and she is 33, but 32, and then the youngest is 23. So
25.
25. We lose track of all of it, but we just know the dates. So we've got a lot in a few years, and as we tell people, 6 of the 8 have actually worked for us, and we fired 2 of them. Earnestly, we fired 2 of them. So
wow.
They turned out to be good. So,
Are they still talking to you?
Yes.
It was the best
actually
thing.
thanked us.
Yeah, it was the best thing we could have done for them, honestly, at the time. So.
And they, and then, so you're, and you said they're in different states right now. So where are they all located?
Do you want to start? Let's go down the list.
Yes. Okay, so Courtney and her husband, 2 children, are in Edmond, Oklahoma. And then Terrence and his wife and 5 kids are in Norman, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Is that close to each other?
They're probably 30, 45 minutes away from each other.
Oh, so not bad.
So
okay.
for New Hampshire, yes, that's close.
Yeah, that's close. That's nothing.
Sure.
And it's kind of funny because it's Brad's child, my child, Brad's child, my child, and then on all of pretty much.
So truly the Brady
so
Bunch is what you're saying, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So Blake and his wife Savannah live in Mustang with their family, their kids, and then after that would be the one in Tennessee, Colby and his wife and kids.
Where are they in Tennessee?
Elizabethton, right near Johnson City.
Okay.
And they just moved there not very long ago. So we're gonna go see them in October, November. We have a son in Edmond with his wife. They don't have any kids yet, so we'll see. And he's getting ready to change careers. We've been in prayer. He and I have been praying about his career for a couple of months. He loves what he does, but he's wanting to totally do something different. Which, imagine his dad did that very same thing. So it's funny how they follow you and they don't even know it. But and then we have another daughter who's an attorney in Norman with her husband and 2 kids. And then we have our youngest who lives in, we have Levi right after that. Levi, gosh, it's hard for us even. Levi, his wife, and 2 kids live in Halstead, Kansas, which is right outside of Wichita.
We're going there next week.
Going up to see them next week. And then the youngest daughter lives in Stroud, Oklahoma, and she's into horses, and she started a garden. We're like, who are you? She's become this of the earth person, but it's cool. It's fun to watch them. You know, we have transitioned from parent to friend with all of them, and that's really all you can. For us, that's all we really prayed and hoped for was when they don't have to. We want them to call us as a friend, because they could choose not to. They could choose to keep the parent relationship if they wanted to, and not that we're not their parents anymore, but we want to be their friend, where they'll call just to talk.
Because they know they're not going to get a lecture. So once Brad was really good about teaching me to not ask, because the couple of the younger boys went through some interesting patches, and he taught me not to ask questions. And it totally changed the trajectory of our relationship. It changed everything. And now all of them call every single day just to share with us. And so if we hear something in the conversation and they ask for our advice, we will share sparingly with them. We've learned that some ask and they ask for advice, but they really don't want it. So we ask.
Well, the stress would come that, and a mother is want to do. She'll ask questions. And I said, you know, in my opinion, if they don't volunteer, we don't need to dig. We just don't need to dig there, because they're not ready to share, and they may not want to share. So it only creates the anxiety. And what I didn't want was any of the 8 to say, I don't want to call because they'll ask questions. They're on their own. They're adults. They pay their own way now. We're not here to judge them anymore. We're not even here to really, lecture them about anything.
It's helped us when we pray for them, because they share with us openly, because they're not going to be condemned or judged. I hope they see it that way.
And talk a little bit about that, of the dynamic. A lot of our audience has adult children, and there is a tendency sometimes to kind of grill them. But tell us how you see it differently, and what the beauty of that is, and how that is translated, interesting enough, to exactly where you would like to be, and what that role is. But how did that dynamic change? Why do you see that dynamic? Why is it so important to let them come to you versus the other way around?
I think once they become adults, and so they reach a chronological age, and they're all at different levels, honestly, at maturity. Some have matured faster, some have matured slower. And you respect that, but when they reach the stage where they don't need you, you want them to want you, because you can't force anything anymore. And so we're not the typical grandparents. So we're the ones that moved away because we wanted to come and start a business in a different state, different community. So we are the grandparents that didn't move to the grandkids. We're the grandparents that moved away. And so we've even apologized for that, that we're the ones that moved away, but they're all like, you give us a great thing to go do. We get to come see you, and when they come, quality time. But we wanted, here's one thing we've been really good at, and we try really hard at. When we're talking to one, we don't talk about anybody else.
Never discuss their issues.
We never share anything that one has told us with somebody else. And even when they pry and want to know, did you know about, and we'll be like, oh, we've talked to them this week. But I mean, we really try to respect that there are 8 individual lives going on.
Why is that so important when you approach it that way?
I think if we share other issues with different children that their siblings are having, I think one, it causes shame and embarrassment for the child that you shared about, and 2, it causes judgment, and it causes
breaks the trust.
Yes, and we want, so because we're a combined family, a blended family, we want them to want to be around each other and want to.
If someone doesn't need to know, they don't need to know. No. I don't want us to be gossipers. Our family is very diverse. They're all faith believing people. Now, they may be in varying stages, and that's okay. It's a ride for everybody. But I don't know everybody's the same political party. Some got vaccinated, some didn't want to get vaccinated. We didn't broach the issue with them. We didn't make it a big deal either way. I mean, at the end of the day, we love them for who they are, and that's where we'll meet them. We don't want to sit there and we have our opinions, and sometimes they'll say, well, what do you think about? And then why do you think about it? And then that's the door that's opened by them, and we'll share, but it stays there, and we always end with, I love you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They each parent so differently. So we've got 2 children that still do not have kids. 1 child is not married, and so they don't have any kids. So excited to see them as parents. But the ones that have children, we really try very hard when they're with us to stand back and let them do all the disciplining. And we don't tell them they've done it right or wrong. And they're all really good parents, and it's fun to watch them.
Here's one. So we went to the oldest, it's been a couple years now, and we were babysitting, and literally we woke up that morning and come down the stairs to her kitchen, and there were probably 15
maybe more
sticky notes, yellow ones, like, here's what you do at this time, here's what you do, here's what you do, if this happens, here's what you do. And we're both just sitting there looking at these. And her husband walks in and he goes, Courtney, I think they've done this before. So we let them go off because we're babysitting all day.
No dirt all way.
We took down every sticky note and threw it away. You know, it was like, if we're here, we're going to do it our way.
As long as there's no food allergies.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to cross the line medically or anything, but it's like, we know how to do this, but if they're with us, we're in charge. When you're with them, you're in charge. You know, it's like, Mommy said I couldn't have a cookie. Well, here, have 2. I mean, you know, it's that kind of thing. But,
we don't know if how we do it is the right way to do it, but it has worked for our family. Because blended families, I think there's an extra level of stress that can be added if things aren't the correct way.
Well, and you have to be sensitive to how everybody's viewing. I mean, we try. It's really hard. We try to make sure we give the same amount, and it doesn't always work, but we try to give the same amount of attention to each family unit. Some just call us more often. Like we have probably 4 of the 8 who call us every day. And we love it. They FaceTime in, the grandkids are FaceTiming in, or they just call to check in, or like the son that's been changing careers. Dad, I need you to pray about this. I need you to pray about this. What do you think about this? Here's what their offer was. What do you think? So I'm giving him father advice, professional advice, but also at the end of the day, friends. We're friends. He's got his life. So the others stay in contact, but they don't stay in contact as often. So we initiate contact with them, like, how are you doing, what's going on, what can we pray for you about?
And learning different love languages and what's important to one and what makes them feel loved, and how they perceive our time versus how another one does. We had one child that got his feelings hurt, and we didn't know it. We just knew something was different, and we just didn't know what. And
we had to deal with it. I mean, we had to draw it out of him a little bit, just because we didn't want him. You know, he was running with a narrative in his head of what he thought. And we had to show him that that's actually
talk a little bit about that process. So you said you noticed that something wasn't right. How did you approach that, and what did you do with that? Because you're obviously involved with your family. And you parents, particularly you as what we call patriarch and matriarch, one of the things that God gives us at that level is you can notice things, particularly when you're spiritually attuned. Is it, wait a second, you know, something's not right here, and they're not openly necessarily even sharing. How did you, when you noticed it? You know, what did you do with that? How did you process that to help these kids?
I'll give you the general scenario. We won't name which child, so we got so many you'll never guess. But so one child said, you know, I feel like,
and he's not one to talk about his feelings.
And so this is one that hard. This is a 180 degree. This is 180 from the child we know.
Okay.
And so he said, I feel like Brad took you guys down to Texas away from all of us. And I feel like you become more of a mom to these kids than to me and this other one. And so, you know, we had to confront that head on. And we were like, well, Keri was like, first of all, I'm the one that wanted to move to Texas. It wasn't Brad. like Brad came along, but I'm the one that wanted to move. And he's like, oh, I just thought maybe Brad was doing that. And I'm like, no.
And some of it, he just needed to be heard.
Yeah. And then we had to talk about, well, what you see is not necessarily what's real. And so if you see a Facebook post from one of your brothers and sisters about had a great time with grandma and grandpa, they came to see us. What do you want them to do? So come see us, and we'll have a Facebook post. You know what I mean? So it's one of those where you're just, let's take a deep breath here. You're sitting where you are, creating this narrative of this is going on, this is going on.
But not that your feelings aren't valid.
Yeah, but you've wasted some energy on things that are not true. And so let's come back to the center and realize we love you. We don't love anyone any more than the other. I mean, we don't. I would die for all 8 of them. Keri would probably die for all 8 of them, maybe 7 out of 8. But I was kidding.
But it breaks your heart when you know that thing that they have seen and they perceived it different than you thought.
Well, you didn't perceive it at all. Like it came out of left field. This one came out of left field, and we're like, what? This is not even him. Like this is
no. And it took a little bit. He had to tell us through text, and then once he felt safe, and like I wasn't going to go boom, 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 boom back, he was able to open up with us on a phone call.
And I said, you need to walk through this with him without me being there.
And that was hard because they have always been extremely close.
But he wasn't trying to separate us, but I knew this was something that mom needed to handle because it's his mom. And so for me to be in the picture when he already thinks I'm the one that moved us to Texas, let's just disarm that one, but you talk to him. And then and again, here we are getting ready to go see him. We're excited to go see him.
And this isn't something that happened years ago.
Yeah, this is a few months ago, but I think we've conquered it. But it just shows you that they're humans, and they're learning how to deal with young families, and they're learning how to deal with situations. And we try to always make sure we don't compare one child to the other. It'd be very easy for all of them to start going, well, here's where we are, and here's where we are. And right. I mean, we try to disarm that one really quickly. It's not
every phone call is about that child and their family.
Yeah.
When this initiated, is it something that he said that initiated it, or just something that you kind of noticed?
It was actually Brad brought it to my attention. They didn't come to our family get together we had fall, which was odd. And then the calls got fewer and fewer. Yep. And some of that was our fault because we weren't intentional about making the calls. So anyway, I think I texted him and asked, this is not you, what's going on?
Okay. And he said, well, we just
you have your family.
He chose to pull back from everybody. And so we're kind of like, what's going on? Because the kids are really good about posting something and all the other kids liking it, like on Facebook, whatever, Instagram. I can't keep track, but they all share each other's joy. Well, this family pulled back and was not communicating on social media at all. And so when he kind of reached out, he said, well, we just see that maybe you guys have your family. We'll just have our little family here. Well, that really hurt me. I mean, to the core. I was like, there is no our family, your family. What are you talking about? So we need to.
But as bad as we were hurting, he was hurting worse because they're in another state. They're dealing with this on their own, not knowing how to open up and share what they're dealing with.
So we worked through it, and we're getting ready to go see him. So we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be great.
So he made that comment to you, and then how did you approach it to get him now to open up?
Well,
that's when she called him, and I think I took the dogs on a walk, or I left so that I wouldn't be. I wanted them to be able to freely communicate.
And so I shared with him. At first I apologized that was his perception, and that was not our intention because we love all 8 equally, and in different ways because each needs to be loved differently. And we're growing. It was also a big growing learning experience for us. It was hard. It was painful because I thought we were doing everything right with them. and I guess, I mean, you're not all, I mean, we're human.
I mean, the thing about 8 is you can have a phone call with 3 of them, let's just say during the day. The 4th one calls they don't care that you've talked to the other three.
Right.
They want your attention right now about their issue
That's
or
right.
what's going on, and
That's right.
we have to focus in on it. It's like, you can't sit there and go, I'm exhausted. I've been talking to your brothers and sisters for the last 45 minutes. They don't care.
Yeah,
They don't
no,
care.
that's
So
it.
you have to realize you have to like focus on the one that's
Yeah.
talking to you about them and keep it right there. And
then like with birthday parties, we're not able, they live farther away, so it's harder to go. But most of our kids have learned to give us 3 to 6 months notice on something so we can put it in the calendar and know. And so that helped a bunch when I share, I just never even thought to share that.
well, we
I
have a
just thought they
couple.
understood.
We have a couple that'll say, a couple kids that'll say, we're having a birthday party in 2 days for one of the grandkids, and we'll be like, we can't make it. Like, we can't be there. Why didn't you give us like at least a week's notice? Well, we just decided last minute. Some of them, well, one of them is very mature and saying, we gave you zero notice. We understand. Like, well, we'll come up in the next week and and then one would tend to get their feelings hurt. Well, you go to all the other parties. And we're like, but we had notice. We had weeks and weeks of notice. You can't spring it on us when you know our schedule. So again, it really is managing 8 different adults
Yeah,
and a
lots of
family
communication.
for their
And you're
kids.
managing 8 different adults, and as you're describing a lot of what's going on in this social media age too,
Right.
where so much
Right.
is put out there and with grand intentions of sharing and celebrating, but that can cause a lot of false isolation or a sense of being left out that isn't really existing, but that is the perception. And so there's
Yes.
so many different things that I think then when we were growing up that they're navigating in terms of what they're seeing versus what reality is.
Right.
And so
And
it's a
that's-
whole different thing to navigate, I think.
Yes,
and
it
you were
is.
right on the false isolation. The good and the bad of social media is just what you described. The good is we can FaceTime, and she FaceTimed at 6:30 this morning, a granddaughter going on her way to school. So that's the beautiful part of it. We love FaceTiming, watching the swimming lessons or whatever. The bad part of social media is the comparison that
Yeah.
people tend to fall into of, well, you were there, but you weren't here, or look
Right,
what
right,
they
right.
did and we couldn't do that. And so we
And
have,
some people are better
Yeah.
at posting everything, so it looks like you're with them all the
Right.
time and not with somebody else.
Right,
correct.
right.
And
Right.
that's so true, because we have some kids that they're all about the pictures. The other kids coming on their way home, they're like, we didn't picture. And we're like, you're right, we didn't. But
Right, right.
it's not even about the picture, it's about the time we spent together. But
Yes.
we juggle it like everybody else because we love each one of them, and it's fun, and it makes it sound hard. Honestly, they're all living their life and they're doing a great job. They all are doing well in their own area. So
And he didn't want to share all of this with us because he didn't want to hurt us.
Sure.
So
that's been the most recent one that's caused a little bit of angst. Like, where did this come from? What is causing this? But otherwise,
and how do we handle it without getting defensive?
So this is where I was going a minute ago. So they realize, and I've told people, and I said a minute ago, we're not your normal grandparents. I mean, we still have our own life. Like, we love our life. We love where we live. We love what we do. We love our kids and our grandkids, but our life is not about them. We're just not those grandparents. We love them and we want to come watch. If you'll give us notice, we'll be there to watch whatever game or whatever. But we love our life.
And send us all the videos you can. We love videos and pictures.
And what I've tried to share with people is that one thing you'll learn is you do want your kids to move out of the house. You do want them to go be normal. And so you do want them to have their life. Not that you don't want to be involved, but you want to be respectfully involved. You want to be involved such that, hey, when you come to see us, we have a lot of good things to show you. Something's happened since the last time you were here. We're not those grandparents that when you come in, like, nope, nothing's happened since you were here. We've been sitting here watching TV. That is not us, So I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The dynamic is that we're active grandparents.
Yeah. So with your children, you've said you've basically let them come to you. You're happy to give them advice, and the less that you offer them advice, the more advice they seek. And then you're available to them, and then you're sensitive to them in terms of something's not right. Let's talk about it. Get to the truth, process the truth, and let them live their life while you're living yours. As you look at your 18 grandchildren, what do you see as your role as matriarch and patriarch with your grandchildren? What do you see as your role? And you even said something here is that, well, first of all, they aren't your life per se. They're not. You're giving your 100% of your attention to them. What do you see as your role with your grandchildren?
So we joke that we have 18 employees coming down the pipeline, but we do talk to them about coming and staying with us, spending a summer here, or there's a couple that would love to come and work for us. Now it'll be up to the parents. Some of the parents won't be able to go that long without them, but we want to.
But our biggest role is we pray for them every
That's
single
where I was going with
day.
that. So they know when they come to see us, they know we're going to church that weekend.
Yeah.
They know to bring the clothes. They know that Grandma and Grandpa, we may be ushering, but we're going to be watching you. You sit there, but so they know, the whole family knows that when they come. So I think what we want to leave the legacy is that Grandma and Grandpa were a safe place. They didn't judge us. They accepted us for what we were, who we were, where we were, and we've got when you have grandkids that text you and FaceTime you, it's like it brings on a whole new. It's like it's not the 16 or 15 kids or in-laws. It's grandkids now texting us and saying, "Hey, what are you doing, Grandma? What are you doing, Grandpa?" And there's nothing that makes you stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
A grandchild reaches out and just wants to talk. You're like, everything else stops. A grandchild wants to talk.
And one of them will FaceTime, and he just sets his little iPad down and can go 10 minutes without saying anything.
He just wants to know. He wants to share time with us.
Yeah.
So we'll talk, and he's not really on the screen, but we're just talking. We're like, "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm playing whatever game." I don't know. Anyway,
he just wants you to be with him while he does it.
Multitasker. Well, listen.
What is, I told Keri the fact that he thought about us, and so I want to call them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's for your grandkids to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's beautiful.
That's sweet.
Beautiful that you see their opportunity to invest in them and help them grow in Christ, and as you will, and enjoy them by just being with them, and they being with you, and they'll learn life through your just being with them and helping them understand. So thank you so much for sharing that discussion with us about your kids and your grandkids, and how you really set it up so that there's a fresh relationship. It's positive. They have an opportunity to ask for advice, and you're willing to give it without you constantly trying to have them determine what are they doing and why are they doing it. It's just they got to live their own life, and you get to live your life, and together you're building a great family. So it's remarkable, really, what you've been able to do.
And even I loved hearing, just as you shared the story with your son, is that intentionality and communicating when there is an issue, so that you didn't let a root of bitterness grow. You listened to the Holy Spirit's prompting, communicated, and pulled that out. We were able to work through to forgiveness and not let bitterness take root, because that can be so destructive. I love just the example you gave in that. And we'll keep praying over how you're continuing on that journey. Yeah.
Living out Ephesians 4:25, speak the truth in love, and just keep the communications open as you speak truth. It's not to deny it, but it's rather to do it in a healthy way. So thank you for sharing all that. And Kathy, we'll see you again for End Times Friday, and we'll come back to you guys again and catch up on your next saga of what you have. So it's exciting that people can keep hearing your life and how you approach it, and what a beautiful way of living. We just encourage you to stay there, enjoy that sweetness, and live it out, and be great examples as you do give it away. So Kathy, we'll see you again tomorrow.
And when this new place opens, I would like an invitation to come down.
We'll come down. Come down. We'll do a podcast. We'll do a podcast from the
laser tag.
From the room. Yes. What do you call it? What do you call that room that you have that are separate or independent? What do you call those rooms?
The escape room.
Escape room. Yeah, we'll go to the escape room.
We'll put Bob Rockwell in there and see if he can get out.
That's right. We'll see if Bob can get out. All right. We'll see you guys soon.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great day.
Okay. All right. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Come and See, your podcast for truth in a world of chaos. Brought to you by All for Jesus Living Waters Ministry. Send us your questions and comments, and tune in tomorrow for more answers to your personal questions about living life in God's truth. Remember, God's will is best and none better. His truth brings peace in this world of chaos.